when I talk about the lovely interactions, the embodied brain, so obviously the embodied brain is here, but our nervous system is part of it. So that's why, plus our heart is one of our brains. The brain is the brain, and then our gut. But let me put those to the side. You can look it up. I remember when someone's like, no, it's not. Yes, I have research material that I can share with you. I know it sounds weird, but so long story short, the embodied brain is your brain with your nervous system, and the Daniel Siegel hand model is where the arm would be your nervous system, and the brain stem, I believe, is here. So when you are in a integration of the brain, this is what, and this would be your prefrontal cortex, and apparently this is like locked in, loaded, and all is communicating. So here we have our amygdala, and as long as everything is communicating, they're all, able to do whole neural feedback and whatnot. So when you're like this, though, alert, 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 that means you're not in your prefrontal cortex. You're not with your wise adult. So a person who's reactive is going to be like this, and then when you're actually completely reactive, I believe that the lid completely flips open or something like that. So like when my 3-year-old comes out, that flip is up. And that's where we all have the first 3 years of life, implicit memory builds up. And so your charge state also, those stays there, which is why it's you working with your own nervous system, which means you would need to learn how to undo a reaction, which you can do, but it's called you being patient with yourself and learning how to just realize. So the number one thing about any reactivity is noticing your trigger. And when you do have enough situations, eventually you can notice your trigger. The trigger is going to be, for any person, it's usually the formulation of a sentence. And it's usually a word, or it's a context, but it's because we're exchanging. It has to be through action. We can't, through inaction, do anything. So an integrated brain, and that's where my lovely 5D body types and mystics and enlightenment soul age group people are at. It's easy for them to move towards this because they don't stick to human life has to be suffering, but it's also that they don't have a body that feels hell inside or uncomfortable with emotions. Because the part about this 4D, 3D body types is what I use as words, because I see people, as I was explaining, there are many ways adaptive children have found excuses when we have been in engaging conversations to behave in mannerisms that are low self-esteem, passive-aggressive, indirect communication, manipulation. They think they're doing boundaries. They are not. They're codependent types. They are being, like Patrick Dehan points out, people who try to change people or fix people. They're doing their unfinished business, like Tara Real points out, but not just in their marriage. No, they're bringing it to all of their relationships, because your unfinished business, your unresolved trauma, your charge states, your trauma memory, you bring it outside of the home if you're a person who has insecure attachment, is what I'm going to say, but even secure attachment, because I see the movies promote the fight response of, and I love Patrick Dehan, he has this little short, he's like, fight response of a person in the morning, and he shows, shower curtain, and a person saying, I'm going to beat up Bill if he looks at me that way today. That's you in your fight. It's you being aggressive. It's you with your lid open, however that is. It's usually, the lid open, no, that's actually reactive, but it's like this, alert, 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 I'm going to get that son of a gun. Okay, so that's you in fight. Now, some people, they're good with that. They want to live in that drama. That's not really that they want to live in it, but the nervous system of yours is used to feeling alive this way. This is why the psych education is what helps people to understand you have a choice. All your choice points are, though, first of all, if you can ground yourself in being a person. 4D doesn't do that. They're star babies. So when I heard that one person who's a coach, this is a coach, and they're saying your survival mode can block your spirituality awakening. Or the shift is faster for people and they need to learn how to harness their light body. I'm hearing that, I'm like, you're not making any coherent, grounded sense with what they're actually going through. Because you did not explain to them their embodied brain and their nervous system and how it all relates to their first years of life at home. And you're not, in fact, telling them anything. You're making a story, which a child will like because, ooh, I want to be that shiny object there. I want to be seen. in a special way so that I can get applauses. There's so many different ways that a person who does not realize that they long to be seen, because inside the body is an attachment system. So it's simplified when you explain it. People who say, I don't believe in it, back to the adaptive children, and they find their ways, they project. Here's why a 5D mystic is a Zen master their entirety of their life. If you are here now, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, it's not a competition. Because really what it is if you maintain your 3-year-old, then you know what I'm talking about. Because I've never stopped unconditionally loving who I am or who others are with their flaws and imperfections. I've always wondered, I know I have an ego. Why don't you know you have one? I don't understand. This is confusing. I know I'm imperfect. Why don't you know you are? Why are you not having fun with this thing called life? And I'm having fun right now. So being open-hearted is easy for those of us who did not lose our 3-year-old. And that's a securely attached person. Because we are like, yeah, okay, you're making a big deal out of nothing. Apparently you need drama in your life. No. So let me explain it again. When I've met people, it's heartbreaking. When I meet any people who are rigid. And sometimes it's not even heartbreaking. At a certain point it becomes like, okay, let's get through today's insecure attachment style person. A day in the life of a securely attached person. So Enlightenment Soul Age people, we're just like, why? Because you know what we know? I got 24 hours in my life. I really do. I don't know if I have tomorrow. And in the meantime, I'm dealing with a person who hasn't gotten any good basic psych education because they refuse to see that silverbacks are ancients. And that they have a body. Somehow, education, I've always wondered why people don't have any interest. They talk about people and that they don't have any interest in learning the blueprint. And I'm saying good stuff. You can always tell when somebody's not giving you good stuff. It's like, if I tell you I know everything, don't. Anybody who says I know everything and talks to you in a way of you need to listen to me. And then again, some people, that's what they want. So adaptive children, when they want that, and you tell them this is not a whole truth and nothing but the truth, because that doesn't exist in any way, shape, or form. In any way, shape, or form. I've learned how not to go down that path because I like to enjoy myself in conversations, and people begin to get agitated because they begin to say, no, you're dismantling stuff that is true. And when I see that, I know that they're in a charged state now. Their inner child is getting ready to come out of the ashes. It don't look pretty at all. It's not a demon baby. No, it ain't devil. It ain't demon. It's a person who doesn't know how to differentiate. I'm having a subjective thought in a conversation with data points. They can be facts, whatever they want. I don't give a shit right here. I have a story that I accompany. Yeah, I have a story too, which is I love being human. I love information. Everything is never everything, because tomorrow we're going to find out new stuff. And I don't know why people get so afraid in their bodies about it. That's right. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. As long as your left and right aren't compadres, I think is the word, partners, your left wants to break things down and find certainty. Your right is the part where you can sit with the unknown. And so it's only once, and it is in this way he explains it, when he's telling me in one of my modules, and any of the people who take his course, interpersonal neurobiology or interpersonal neurobiology, one of the two words, but he says, okay, I just told you this and this. And they contradict each other or something like that. Or one says one thing and one says the other. And he explains the habit of the left is to say, then all of that isn't true. And only A is true. And he says, I want to ask you to allow yourself to have A and C in your right and to leave the infinite possibilities. Now, what I laugh about most of all, and we're concluding, is that we all have a way we can add up the data points of our life story and of human life story. That's why I understand when somebody says, I don't believe in the updated shit. It's all shit. It's like, yeah, okay. And this is why it's easy for 5D Mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age to say, here, 2-year-old, have the floor. Because we're actually curious about how you add up your data points. Because we already know how we added up our data points. We just told you. And you have something more important to say. And you have your data. And there you go. It's always fun in relationships with grown-ups. So we can say, you're a shit. No, you're a shit. And then we hug it out. And 5D Mystics get to do that with their entire oversoul. No saga, none of the 4D stuff. Tune in for more. And if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day, everyone.